In this video, let's learn about different companies involved in recruitment process, their hierarchy and role. Let's see if this company wants to develop a project or an IT application, any software application or any IT product, then this company is called as end client because they develop the product and they sell that product in the market, and they are the whole owners of that product or any application. And we can say like Amazon or Microsoft as examples of this end client, because Microsoft have developed a lot of products like Windows OS and MS Office. In the same way, like Amazon has developed Amazon e-commerce application. So they are the owners of those products. So that's the reason they called as end client. So for developing that IT applications or products, they want some IT consultants. So they have three options to hire those IT consultants. The first option is they can directly jump into the market and get the candidates, or they can do job postings and they can hire the candidates. They can interview and they can hire the candidates directly, or they can approach the other companies called implementation partners. The role of this implementation partner is like if the end client wants some technical support from the other companies, or they will assign the whole project to that company, or they assign some part of the project to that companies. And these companies, example like Wipro and Infosys, are implementation partners. In India we call them as software companies or IT companies, but those companies are called as implementation partners in US. Now they give the technical support, they involve in the project of the end client, they give the technical support to the end client. And for example, like if the client wants to develop a project, and the client involves in the application development, and they take the help from implementation partners for testing, or they can take the help from the implementation partners for cloud configurations. So they can, implementation partners may involve in the whole project or some part of the project, that depends on the client requirement. And the third scenario is there are few staffing companies in market. They are called as vendors. So the role of these companies, staffing companies or the preferred vendors, are they just take the requirement from the client, and they find the best suitable candidate for that requirement. When the client wants the recruitment support from the other companies, then they approach these vendors, only recruitment support. These vendors doesn't involve in any technical things of the client. They don't involve in the project, they just take the requirement from the client, and they supply the best suitable candidates to the end client. This end client can work with multiple implementation partners for different projects, and they can also work with multiple preferred vendors. In the same way, the implementation partner can also work with multiple end clients for different projects, and this prime vendor also can work with multiple end clients. So when comes to coming to this implementation partner and the prime vendor hiring strategy, like they can work that they can directly jump into the market and get the candidate for this end client requirement, or they can take the support of other companies. They are called as vendors. Here the vendor, the difference between the prime vendor and vendor is nothing but just the prime vendors are directly working with the end client, so that's the reason they are called as prime vendors. The layer 2 vendors, they work with implementation partners or preferred vendors, that's the reason they are in layer 2. They are also called as vendors. So once the implementation partners and prime vendors share the job requirement of the client to these vendors, so here every vendor have multiple recruiters, technical recruiters who have some technical knowledge and who are best in sourcing and screening and selecting the right candidate. So they take this technical recruiters help for getting the candidates. And now when coming to the recruiters of this vendor, they are in touch with like different consulting companies in the market. All these recruiters will be in touch with bench sales recruiters of different consulting companies in the market. And the role of these consulting companies, they sponsor visa for the IT consultants, and they place these IT consultants with the help of these vendors to the end clients. They place the consultants to the end clients with the help of these vendors and preferred vendors. Now, once the requirement is given to this consulting company, they share the resume and candidate details to these vendors. and these vendors will screen the resume of the consultant, and they talk to the consultant and shortlist them, and they send that resume and details to the prime vendors and implementation partners. Now the prime vendors and implementation partners will again screen the candidate and make sure the candidate is the right fit for the job requirement from the client, and then they will send the resume and details of that candidate, shortlisted candidates, to the end client. Now the end client will schedule the interview, and they select a couple of guys as per the requirement, and this make them work for their project. Thank you.